Bom dia. Welcome to Rio de Janeiro, my friends. Rio de Janeiro. And that's more or less all you will hear me trying to speak in Portuguese. Behind me, right over there, is the place where Rio was founded back in 1565. However, some accounts even mention that Cabral and his fleet actually knew of this area. Now, for the Portuguese, Rio was not very useful back then. They couldn't really understand the significance of the place. More or less until the 1700s, when in the nearby Minas Gerais, gold was found. And all of a sudden, Rio was the perfect place to ship that gold back to Portugal. Look at this, Cosenza and Inter. This is a very small beach called Urca, and up there is the Sugarloaf.
Você tomando a viagem, menos quente. A mesma sensação.
You know, the place with the views. Behind me, no, just a moment, in front of me is Jesus, spreading his arms, inviting us for a hug. The Portuguese initially didn't pay much attention to this area. As a matter of fact, Cabral was not even sailing for these here parts. He was sailing for Asia, for India. Sailing around Africa, however, was not the easiest task back then. So Cabral and his fleet ended up in what we now know as Bahia here in Brazil, officially discovering and claiming these here parts for Portugal. Now, why Portugal, you may ask, and not Spain? Remember, Spain was busy founding colonies all over the place in South America back then. Well, in order for Portugal and Spain not to fight each other, the Pope decided to draw a line on the map, the Tordesillas line. And because of this line, everything that would be east of it would be under the Portuguese influence, and everything that was west of that line would be under the Spanish influence. The parts of what we now call Brazil that were found by Cabral were on the eastern part of that Tordesillas line. And this is basically the reason why these here lords speak Portuguese and make our lives extremely difficult. Brazil, by the way, is a tree. So when the Portuguese came here, they found this lush forest. So they immediately became extremely busy cutting the trees and sending the wood back to Portugal. Initially, the Portuguese tried to collaborate with the local population, the indigenous tribes that were living in these here parts. However, as it was the case with the Spanish and their efforts to suck the blood dry from their colonies, the Portuguese soon found out that the local indigenous people were extremely frail and falling victims of the European germs and illnesses. Thousands died, and the Portuguese found themselves without workforce that was also needed for the newfound sugar plantations that the Portuguese were very fast to establish in Brazil. They already had a number of outposts on the coast of Africa, essentially to help the Portuguese fleet with their sales to India for the spice commerce. The solution was, besides the spice, to actually start trading people. That was the beginning of the Atlantic trade, the human trade, slave trade. Brazil was the last country on earth to end the slave trade in 1888. So imagine you are Zumbi and you are a young African adult, probably living with your family, a family that you had just created in your village, not very far from the west coast of Africa. And one day you have to face all these Portuguese violently taking you from your family, from your village, put you on a ship, chained, only to bring you here so that you can get sold to the sugar plantation owners. And you end up here, walking on this very cobblestone that you see in front of me. It was here in Brazil that close to 40% of the global human trade would happen. The slaves back then were not only stolen, taken from the Portuguese, from their villages, they were also sold by the local African collaborators. That makes it even more eerie. So a couple of places of interest that I went were two favelas. Now, favela is the name of a tree, yet another tree. The early occupants of these areas were very poor people, former slaves that were forced by the Brazilian government to fight. Basically, they were promised freedom and housing in order to become soldiers fighting the wars of Brazil. Those who did not die, they found themselves in the following situation. All of a sudden, they were free, but they needed to build a house. The government did not provide housing, they provided freedom, essentially telling them, okay, now you're free, go express yourselves. Initially, they were using the favela tree's leaves in order to protect themselves from the elements. The first place where they could find refuge were the hills around Rio. And being poor, all these people could not start massive construction of housing, of course. This is more or less the reason why the favelas have this specific architectural style. They are the cheapest possible way these people had found to place a roof above their heads. It's more or less the same everywhere, I guess. It's exactly the same concept at the villas in Argentina. Now, along the years, many famous artists used the favelas as the background for their performances, combined with the natural sense of rhythm that the locals have running in their veins. So, I did visit two favelas. One is called Santa Marta, and it's a small one. It's near the Botafogo area, and it was basically the only one where I actually saw people with guns and ammunition, which people I did not film, following the instructions of the guide. It's very interesting to actually see live the stereotype, the young people with the Kalashnikovs and the grenades and everything. Young kids on bikes hiding a gun in their trousers. Yeah. That being said, of course, I'm not entirely sure if this was part of the spectacle, For example, this is one of the very few favelas that allow visitors. So I'm not sure if they do it on purpose and appear before the foreign visitor with all this ammunition, or it's just how it is. And the second one was Rocinha. Rocinha is a very big favela, man. More than 100,000 people living in there. And this has had a totally different vibe than Santa Marta. It felt completely safe, if I'm honest. I guess if you stay at the main road, which is leading to the top of the hill, I guess you are okay. At Santa Marta, you had the general feeling that, this is a dangerous place, potentially. In Rocinha, there was no such feeling. And I do want to add here that, as both guides said, the favelas are probably the most secure place in Rio. Because the security is taken care of the local gangs, it's very effective, Nobody will mug you in the favela. At least in those favelas, that allow tourists. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen if you enter another one that doesn't allow. Now, on a somewhat more optimistic tune, Did you know that Brazil has a Supreme Court that actually sends to prison aspiring dictators, man? Former President Bolsonaro has been sent to prison with a 4-1 vote by the Supreme Court for his attempt to cause a coup d'etat. Well done, Brazil. Stronghold of democratic procedures. The same Brazil that has to suffer the 50% tariff from the current US government. Look at that submarine behind there. Straight ahead is this airport. Next to the airport is a very small island where the French tried to build a fort to claim Rio or this here area as their colony. I don't know what to say about the French one. I mean, they did try, and they tried all over the place to establish their own colonies. I mean, you see, for the French, the line of Tordesillas didn't mean anything. So the French said, well, fuck it, let's go conquer. The only thing is that everywhere they went and they tried to establish a fort or something, immediately thereafter came the Portuguese and kicked their ass. It's amazing, actually. Look at this building, man. This is the cathedral. Have you ever seen a more cool cathedral? There is even a small redeemer. Let's go take our selfie. Because with a big one, you can never be sure.
Incendiaram a casa do ex-primeiro-ministro, matando a sua esposa. Pois bem, isso ganhou
Mira, ahí se ve su carita, mira.
Costa as costas, olha pra frente aqui pra fila. Não joga o corpo pra trás. Vai.
Ontem ela furou minha filha, hoje eu furei a filha dele.
Queridos, eu deveria ter dado a bênção para depois ser o momento das falas, mas por gentileza que fiquem de pé, apenas para que eu possa dar a bênção e depois seguimos as falas. O Senhor esteja convosco, Ele está no meio de nós. Abençoe-vos o Deus Todo-Poderoso, Pai, Filho e Espírito Santo. Amém.
Look at the flipping aqueduct, man. And right behind the aqueduct, you can actually see the cathedral where we were before. The aqueducts bring in water from up the hills downtown, you know? And the buildings, man, I mean, they look kind of derelict, but you realize the architectural style, right? Do you remember in Sao Paulo that we discussed how the local Paulistas actually destroyed all these buildings, reminding them the colonial era? Now this lot here haven't. How are we doing, everybody? Good morning. This is the lake Rodrigo de Freitas. If I continue walking straight ahead, I eventually come up to the headquarters of Flamengo, Club Regatas Flamengo. You see, for some reason, most of the clubs in Brazil are regatta club, which means rowing clubs. Let me show you good old Jesus back there. And if you ever decide to come and visit Rio and climb up there to see Jesus, this lake is on your right hand side if you decide to have Jesus on your back. You see the lake, and then you see a stripe of land, which is Ipanema. And next to Ipanema is Leblon. Both Ipanema and Leblon are considered to be the good suburbs. This is the place where you go as a tourist if you want to have a carefree life. Now, the reason I made this whole introduction was only to say that even this area here, right, Leblon, remember, next to Ipanema, right next to the Flamenco complex. This area here, back in the 70s, it was a favela. As a matter of fact, the favela was removed, and by removed I mean burned. I'm not gonna lie, man, this was very disturbing information that I learned during this trip. Can you believe it, man, that they actually set specific favelas on fire in order for the people to go to move violently, actually, up on the hills and rebuild these areas into the very wealthy neighborhoods they are today, right? And the reason I had this discussion in the first place was actually a question that I had in my mind ever since arriving here in Brazil. Did the city of God benefit Rio or not? Cidade de Deus. I don't know how to pronounce it, man. You know the Brazilian film, right? With Zé Pequeno and company. So imagine my surprise to hear that the city of God actually existed. As a matter of fact, it still exists. As for the film itself, it had a positive effect on Rio, causing many tourists to want to visit the favelas. While in the meantime, the real city of God acted as the place to rehouse all the people from the favelas that were burned down. And it was because of this massive influx of people that the city of God eventually became itself a favela. And all these favelas that were around the lake eventually disappeared and were replaced by luxury buildings with fences. I will send you now to watch all the visits I made to the Rio de Janeiro football clubs, and we will catch up later. My team is I captains.
Oh, great. I couldn't want to
The
wait.
World Cup Final Four with Flamengo. Here, actually, in Rio.
Oh, great.
We won.
That's a great thing.
That's a great thing.
Certo escolher, coloca ele pra poder tentar cancelar, entendeu? Não, lá no pé. Coloca pra mexer.
A euforia tomava conta do país. Um a 0 Brasil. A Copa é nossa. A Copa ainda é nossa. 2-1 Uruguai. O coração do Brasil para.
So yeah, Uruguay actually beat Brazil 2-1 in the very final that marked the opening of the Maracana Stadium. I mean, yeah, you can really feel the heartbreak of the Brazilians, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. So let me explain to you what's going on here. Here I am going to the Maracanã in order to watch the Copa Libertadores game between Flamengo and Estudiantes. We go to their clubhouse where there is a lot of samba and a lot of food outside. I try to bypass a couple of unsettling questions they make.
You like Rodinei? Rodinei is playing Olympiacos.
My God, don't speak like that. What is it? Do I come to your home and curse? No. Why do you curse?
What's your team?
Ajax.
Atenas. Atenas.
What Olympiacos?
No, we only stay because there's a Flamengo player who plays there.
Because of Rodinei. Rodinei is a very popular in Brazil. Everybody loves Rodinei. He moved it to Olympiacos.
Olympiacos love him also.
Yeah.
The rest of Greece not. So here we are, finally making our way to our sector, totally unaware of the drama that was about to unfold.
Before the start, man.
Try to show them this is a kind of stick.
And when we reached there, the unthinkable happened.
Unbelievable, man. So we have the second team to deny us entrance. This time it was for the bloody camera. Can you believe that? I mean, the same camera that... Wow. Anyway, Maracana for you. Bye-bye for now.
How are we doing, everybody? Welcome to São Januário, the stadium of Vasco. Which, by the way, looks glorious from outside. Look at these nice ladies here. Look at this one, so they want to build this instead of the current one, which is this one. Look at this place, man. Look at the glory of it. Flipping gorgeous. And the old railing with the Maltese crosses. And the ornament. Bloody hell. Oh wow, infinite levels of comfort. And look at the distance between the goalpost and the curva of the ultras. Now, if this was a normal one of our vlogs, you would definitely see me there or here anywhere watching a game of Vasco. But although we did purchase a ticket, all sort of natural disasters happened. So yeah, there is no footage of the Vasco game, unfortunately, but we are here for the stadium tour. Now Vasco are playing against Flamengo on Sunday, another game for which we have a ticket. So look at these glorious window glasses. It's like a church, and the columns. One of the members was also Pele. Pele was a fan of Vasco da Gama, and if I'm not mistaken, there are interviews of him out there praising Vasco for its inclusive character, you know, the poor, the analphabets, all the lower parts of the Brazilian society were included in Vasco da Gama. There was no racism here. So Vasco is actually doing the same thing like Palmeiras and Sao Paulo, moving us around and group. But I mean, at least the stadium is a gem, man, and you can actually move around as you please. So that over there is the curva of the Torcida, Força Jovem. Vasco have many groups, Rasta group, Força Jovem, Mancha Negra, and they are friends with Palmeiras from Sao Paulo. What's interesting with this sector is that it's all standing and it has no stop for the avalanche. In other words, when Vasco scores, this is the avalanche paradise. Oh, look at this. Our favorite thing, stickers. Female ultra group. This is interesting. This is, do you remember Universidad de Chile? You know, from all the chaos in Buenos Aires, in Avellaneda, against Independiente. They are also friends with this lot here. I don't want to imagine what will happen if Independiente gets to play in Rio at some point. For all my fellow Liverpoolians. Look at our guy, man. Former guy. To be fair, Coutinho scored a majestic foul the previous weekend, and it was also after his foul that they managed to score against Botafogo and qualify for the next round of the cup. Right, so Coutinho, will put him here and shoot fouls. Master tactician. Oh wow. Well, lights out. Bloody hell, man, can you believe it? I lost the tour, which instantly makes Vasco da Gama a great club. if they allow us to get lost like this. Well done to Vasco. I mean it. Look at them playing on the grass. So this is Roberto Dynamite. This is the equivalent of Zico for Vasco. It doesn't look promising, man. They look way too comfy. Oh my lord. Yeah, these chair pieces all over the Genoa one. I tell you what, if you sit here, you have absolutely no wheel.
Ô Diniz, tira o Matheus Cocão, porra!
That to get up and play. Yeah, man, these chairs are way too comfy. That's why they don't win anything. Let's first take the selfie with Romario. Now have a look at this photo, man. This is probably the best defender AEK ever had. Look at him defending Romario. So imagine this. The game is played there, and these brats shoot the ball as far away from the goal as possible. And you can actually see where the ball lands. Look at this. All the signs of the ball over there. Look at Vasco, man. They have a chapel. Some sort of divine protection is always needed, isn't it? What the fuck is this, man? Wow. Well, looks awkward, doesn't it? Exit through the gift shop. What's going on with Fluminense, man? Look at this. Look at this ballroom. I thought I had come to the museum of Fluminense, but this is weird. First of all, it's empty. Where are the trophies? So, we are somewhere here. They have this place where we don't have access for some reason. They also have that place that we don't have access. And no cups. They do have a shop though. ¿Dónde son las copas? Copa, Libertadores, etcétera.
Libertadores, sala de troféus.
Ah, no sé. ¿Aquí?
E só a primeira direita.
Thank you. So apparently the cups are back here. These are the trophies, man. Manchester United Premier Cup, look at this. There is a Manchester United Cup up there. I'm not gonna lie, man, I don't understand anything. Where are the trophies? Where are all the Libertadores and Cariocas? This little stadium is very nice though. We do have chairs. Yeah, man. I have to give it to Fluminense also, and Vasco. By far the most comfortable chairs in Brazil. They have a view of Jesus right over there. So let me explain to you a couple of things about this place, man. So this was apparently the first stadium of Fluminense, and at some point it could fit something like 25,000 people. As you can see, however, it's kind of limited, isn't it? Those prats over there can see everything ticket-free. Now, for reasons unknown to mankind, these people don't show their trophies. They are shy. Either that, or I was too blind and couldn't find them, which is also a possibility. They left and went on and started playing at the Maracanã together with Flamengo, basically. Fluminense and Flamengo have established a common company that was 5 or 6 years ago to basically handle and take care of Maracanã. The previous company that was responsible of taking care of the thing were corrupt as hell. So the Brazilian state decided to cancel their contract. This is the açaí, the greatest refreshing snack in the Brazilian cuisine. Cheers. The traditional derby of Rio is this one, Flamengo versus Fluminense, but Sunday's game, Flamengo versus Vasco, is much more charged, I guess. I have to admit though, it does look nice. So should you visit? I have no idea, man. I mean, it's weird. It's a very beautiful empty building with a couple of trophies. Most of them are from glass. 2 of them say Man United on them. The açaí is a good reason to visit, but yeah. Go to Vasco, it's better. For the museum?
Museu?
Yeah?
Não, museu é pra cá.
Yeah, but she sent me here.
Sim. Aqui, ó. Vai pegar lá na frente.
And left. Okay. Third time I will be asking this lady. So the guy at the triangle told me to come back here for ticket. Yeah?
Ué, o cara mandou ir voltar aqui pra pegar o ingresso. Mas é ticket pra futebol?
Museum.
O museu está em obra.
Closed.
Tá, close.
Oh, why? Okay, obrigado. So the thing is closed. In the last 15 minutes, I've been coming back and forth in this place, you know? And she sent me there. He sent me back here. She sent me back there again. Come on, man. My entire Brazil, it's like this. And it's exhausting, to be honest. So that was a failed attempt to visit Botafogo Museum, the Copa Libertadores holders. They won it last year at River Plate. Alright, here we are, beachfront. However, in the shade, it's 35 degrees, man. I mean, it's so hot. This is Ipanema, right? Probably the safest place in the city. Look at it, look at these fences. It's like a fortress, which kind of speaks about what these people expect, you know? Or try to avoid. Refreshing, isn't it? So before we head to the stadium and make our second attempt to enter that particular stadium, you know, Maracanã, and it will be the second attempt, man, because the first was Wednesday's game, the Libertadores against Estudiantes. They did not let me in because of this small camera, which, if you ask me, is insane. So basically, Flamengo robbed me of the ticket I paid, and because of the popularity of this particular game, it was a pretty expensive one, let me tell you. So that's more or less all from the fortress of Ipanema. Enjoy the game, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Bloody hell, man, it's the exact same entrance that they didn't let me in the other day. What a mug, man. This time they didn't even check. What a prat. So the facial recognition thing works like a peach. Well done.
Bora, Vascão, pô! Voltinho, beijante ao coco!
We have to try the food here, man. Flat delivery, man. Can you believe that? Home delivery too. So we are very close to the Vasco fans.